Hello drama lovers, welcome back to the K-pop World Channel. Today, we're diving into a story that might not come with roaring applause, bright stage lights, or the loud echo of fan chants. But precisely because of that, it hits different. A story about someone who simply sat, and yet, his presence was enough to quiet the room. Someone who, without uttering a single word, left an impression far louder than most people ever could. That person is Wang Yibo. You might already know the name well. A versatile figure, actor, singer, dancer, and even a professional racer. But on that particular day, in the grandeur of an event filled with world-class protocols and high-level diplomacy, Wang Yibo wasn't there to perform. He wasn't there as a celebrity. He was invited as a guest to the opening ceremony of the Ministerial Conference on Global Civilizations Dialogue in Beijing, a formal event attended by over 600 significant individuals from around the world. Leaders, officials, diplomats, scholars, all seated together to discuss the state and future of global civilizations. And right there, among all the stern, suited faces, sat Wang Yibo. Quiet, calm, yet somehow, he became the center of attention. The ceremony began at 3 p.m. local time. It was structured, filled with speeches, cultural showcases, and formalities. Not an easy setting for most people, especially those unfamiliar with such international atmospheres. But Wang Yibo didn't flinch. He sat upright, his hands resting gently in his lap, his eyes fixed on the stage, not once distracted. He didn't touch his phone. He didn't fidget. He didn't chat with the people next to him. For hours passed, while others shifted in their seats, checked notifications, or whispered to break the silence. Yibo remained the same. Still, focused, composed. He wasn't the keynote speaker. He wasn't a performer that evening. Yet his stillness somehow became the most powerful statement in the room. One of the camera crew later shared something quietly poetic. We rotated the camera toward dozens of faces, but whenever we returned to Wang Yibo, there was something serene about him. A calm we rarely capture in these events. What might seem like a simple act, sitting with respect, not speaking, not seeking attention, turned out to be a highlight that many remembered. In fact, it didn't take long before a few international guests approached the organizers directly, asking, "Who's the young man in the third row? Is he a government representative?" He didn't speak, but we couldn't stop watching him. When the name Wang Yibo was mentioned, many were surprised. "A celebrity?" One of them repeated. "I thought he was from the ministry." This is the side of Wang Yibo many people outside the fan community don't get to see. He isn't just multi-talented. He isn't just well-known. What truly sets him apart is how he carries himself, how he respects the space he's in, how he honors the moment, and how he holds his silence with grace. At an age where many chase cameras and attention, Wang Yibo showed that sometimes the most powerful presence is the one that doesn't speak. And what moved people even more was how natural it all was to him. His fans, of course, weren't surprised. As the clips of him sitting silently yet respectfully during the event went viral, the comment sections exploded, not with shock but with heartfelt pride. This is why we love him. He doesn't need to perform to be extraordinary. He's exactly the same person we've always known. Humble, quiet, full of depth. One fan wrote, "He doesn't talk to be seen. He exists to be felt." Even netizens who had no strong opinion about him before began to ask, "Who is this man? Why does he feel different?" In a world that never stops talking, where most people scream to be noticed, there stood a man who stayed quiet, who sat through the noise, and whose quietness somehow said more than any speech delivered that day. That's Wang Yibo. He doesn't fight for the spotlight, but the spotlight, over and over again, seems to find him anyway. A foreign guest later published a comment that spread widely across platforms. Translated from their native language, it said, "I've never seen a celebrity guest behave so respectfully at an international forum. He could have been glued to his phone like many others, but he chose to be fully present." There's a lot we can learn from this young man. That wasn't a fan talking. That was someone who came from a completely different world, yet was equally touched. That night, after the lights dimmed and the seats emptied, Most guests returned to their hotels with handshakes and documents in hand. But some carried something more abstract, an impression, a memory of a young man in the third row who said nothing, and yet, in his silence, reminded everyone what respect looks like. This isn't your typical drama. There are no loud confrontations, no twists, no tears. But it is drama, a real one, a story told not through words, but through presence, through posture, through intentional stillness. And somehow, that made the deepest impact of all. So what do you think? Are there still many public figures who carry this kind of character? Or is that exactly why Wang Yibo feels so rare, so unforgettable? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, we'll be watching closely for any future updates from Wang Yibo or other public figures who continue to inspire not just with words, but with the quiet strength of their actions. Until next time, only here on K-Pop World. Thank you for watching.